Welcome to the Naturalness podcast. This is season 4, episode 32. We are continuing our discussion of Chen Ling. In this one, we're going to be talking a bit about his relationship with Hung Yixiang and his Tai Chi form that he taught to Hung. And then we will get into a little bit about circle walking and some tips in general for Bagua Circle. He uses animal shapes to describe sort of the basic principles of Bagua as a martial art. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting us. Take care of yourselves and be well.
Today we're going to talk more about Master Chen Ling of Taiwan. We go back to the story of Master Hung Yixiang, the great Xingyi and Bagua master of Taiwan. And so we're going to look at a quote from Blurred Boundaries that talks about where Master Hung is at. So, before Hung Yixiang practiced Xingyi, Chen, and Bagua Zhang, he was already studied Yang-style Taiji for several years. But after all, at that time, he was young and shallow, and his understanding of Neijia Chen was still muddled. When he gradually mastered the essence of Xingyi, Chen, and Bagua Zhang, his heart always carried a regret, and he hoped to find a renowned Taiji teacher to relearn and fill in this piece of the Neijia Chen jigsaw puzzle. As fate would have it, he came to know the Taiji Chen master Chen Ling, who lived in Taichung. Hung visited many times on official business trips and called on him. After many intimate conversations, Master Chen Ling agreed to Hung Yixiang's request and personally taught him the 99 Taiji form, compiled from the wisdom of many masters in China. Totally different from the past years, when he had always invited the teachers into his home to live and teach, Hung Yixiang respected Master Chen's wishes and started the long-distance training journey, scurrying between Taipei and Taichung. So that shows a young Master Hung has met this Tai Chi teacher to help fill in his knowledge of the arts.
Yeah, I mean, it's a common thing, right, where you find your like final teacher, you're the master that's going to put it all together for you, right? Like that's a pretty
after all the years of effort, now you got a wise mentor who can really assemble all the pieces together.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like finding that professor that like takes everything you've learned in all your other classes.
He's like your PhD advisor.
Yeah, exactly.
He just brings it all together.
It's like he's not really teaching you anything new necessarily, but he's like showing you how what you know is all connected and how it's, kind of one whole thing, and maybe filling in some of the gaps that you missed along the way.
Totally. That's a big part of the martial arts journey for a lot of the great masters in history or whatever. If you're lucky enough to have one teacher who does it all for you, that's one thing. But for a lot of the classic tales, you need that final.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is kind of how long your first teacher lives. Either you stay with them or they live, because like if they die, then you're kind of screwed. And I think that's what happened a lot, where these guys would, especially if your teacher was an older guy, right? Like you might only get a couple of years with them. Yeah. Before he stops teaching or something, So you kind of had to
fill in gaps.
It, same. When we talked about Wang Shijing, it was the same kind of thing with him. It was doing the Yichuan was kind of his way of filling that gap at the end. But he went that direction of, his last teacher was
the standing master Wang Shenzai.
Was the Yichuan guy. So I just think it's part of it's like the finishing school of it, right?
Yeah, that's a great. If you're lucky enough to have that, So he found the guy who was going to help him take to another level and complete his Taiji training. And
kinda
again,
like
they
what
mentioned
you're doing with Dr. Yang.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
So he taught him and so again, they mentioned the 99 Tai Chi form, this Chen Ling Tai Chi form, also known as the Guoshu Tai Chi, where they, before the move to Taiwan, the nationalist government went around and gathered a bunch of different masters to compile this form. And Chen Ling was the guy who wrote it down. And he says that's going to be this
Okay, so in a recent Patreon, we talked about whether or not Wang Shijing learned from Chen Ling or just got it from sort of the same
the group that compiled the form that put Chen Pan Ling's name on it.
Right.
Was it actually through Chen Pan Ling? So if you want to go more into that, you can check that out.
So the book continues to talk about Master Chen Pan Ling's qualifications. So Master Chen Pan Ling was talented in both literary and martial worlds. He had a deep understanding and comprehension of the ancient texts, the illustrated book of boxing verses. Hung asked his help with all kinds of thorny questions in boxing. With a word, he could always break through the mystery to reveal the essence, giving people flashes of insight. This was unlike ordinary masters. With their limited level of discursive attainment, it was impossible for them to accurately employ contemporary language to describe the theory and abstract meaning of the boxing principles. Whereas Master Chen Pan Ling is helping him figure out the thorniest puzzles of combat because he's got such a deep insight.
Yeah, I mean, it's that thing of having someone who can actually put the concepts into language that you can understand it takes a certain amount of intelligence and experience and all that to kind of have that level of knowledge, I think.
Yeah, it speaks to why Chen Pan Ling's so respected, because it's not like there's tons of fight stories about him or whatever, but this is the kind of thing people would come to him and he could help them figure out quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think
what the answer was.
He was essentially like an encyclopedia of martial arts.
Like Robert W. Smith said something like that,
you could basically, I mean, it sounds like you could ask the guy about almost any Chinese martial art and he could have told you something you didn't know about it, right? Like, but
a deep understanding.
The other side of it is that maybe his skill level wasn't equal to his knowledge.
I don't know about
level.
that. I mean,
that's what the Wong Fu Lai.
Right. Yeah, in the Patreon. Right.
So,
yeah,
that's what the Patreon.
Yeah, there's mixed message. Some people not the hugest fans, but then others saying, "Damn, this dude was a badass." So you never know.
You have to research it yourself and find out. Right?
So it says, Hung Yixiang said that only those who can clearly express profound theory in plain language and logic are the real masters. Those who seek to overly mystify or merely teach according to the book, most all of those are dilettante half-wits. Whereupon the relationship between Hung Yixiang and the Taiji master Chen Pan Ling commenced a 5-year, long-term, long-distance commuting study. According to Hung Yixiang, the study of the 99 Taiji itself did not actually take him too much time. During the period spent with the master, most of the time was to explore the higher realms of internal martial arts. Also, he dug into and researched the many old boxing manuals preserved after his father's significant investment in the care and feeding of exiled martial arts masters. He said that this period should be considered the most comprehensive and rapid cultivation of martial arts in his life, because of the caliber of his opponents, because opposites attract, and in so knowing each other, they cherished each other.
Well, I think when you've been training for whatever, probably he'd been, training for 30 years or something at that point, that it's easier to pick up a new thing or to, learn a new thing. So you can pick up the movements of it very quickly and then spend most of the time on the deeper stuff. And I think that's, again.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Bruce did with Liu Hong Jie, essentially. I think it's what a lot of people end up doing with or Law did with I think
Liu Chen's the guy that he found.
Liu Chen, right? Because it's like, you end up basically like, it's not the physical stuff that's where you feel lacking or where there's something missing. It's in the internal or the conceptual stuff.
Those are the thorny questions that remain. Sort of like, say everyone has these different interpretations of Jing Qi Shen.
I was just going to say the same thing. Yeah.
And so we've just been, who ask anyone, look any book, anything, like comparing all the different ways people approach the topic to try and find the similarities.
Like a much simpler thing, like what is the single palm change? Every single person you ask will get a different answer. And some of them will be good and some of them will be shitty. Like there's not, but
they're always going to be.
It's just that, that's the nature of this stuff, is that everybody, it goes back to that thing of it. If you can't explain it in words, then you have to, but you have to explain it in words. Everybody's going to have to come up with their own way of explaining it in words, because there isn't there isn't like, I mean, guess
There's
are.
a common language, but the definitions are slightly different.
Right.
Just like every Tai Chi form has grass sparrow's tail, each one does it slightly differently. So
yeah, I mean, there were,
find the one that works.
There were attempts, I think, to
standardize.
Yeah, like the first one would have been like Gigi Guan, right? The one in the 1500s.
That might be the book you're talking about here, the Illustrated Book of Boxing Verses.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
That
Gigi
that goes
Guan.
back to that, like, whatever, 1500s kind
Right.
of, like
Very
very
literary.
rudimentary type of martial art, but at least it gave, it had the genesis material or whatever for all the Chinese martial arts, right? So there's certain concepts, certain techniques that, in a sense, are universal, right? Like every Chinese martial art has a pierce, right? Every Chinese martial art has a palm strike. Like there's
punch.
I mean, there's certain things that's what makes it a Chinese martial art. So, but they, like you said, everybody has a different vocabulary for it. So sometimes two people can be talking about completely different things when they're using the same words, or they'll be talking about the same thing and using completely, it's like there's no way to tell. So, it does get a little confusing when you start taking different systems, right? I mean, I think that's in a sense what they were trying to do with this Tai Chi form, right? Was to create a standardized thing that contains
all the best techniques in one place,
all that has,
repetitions.
yeah, exactly. And so, but that's a monumental undertaking, right? There's no way you could incorporate all of it, I don't think. So
of course not. You got to take your best shot at it. All these modern reformers have tried to make something better from what was in the past. So it's just the process that we go through. And I think that speaks to the thing here. He says, the real masters can express profound theory in plain language.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if it takes a long time to explain it, then maybe it's not that important. If you can demonstrate it in hand-to-hand action, then it actually means something.
Well, and it's the idea that if you understand it and you can explain it to somebody in relatively simple terms, that allows for the experience of the thing to really be the learning, not the discussion. And that's how this stuff goes.
So continuing our discussion of Chen Pan Ling, we're going to get inspired by another book. This is by the son of Chen Pan Ling, Chen Yixiang, who made some tours of foreign countries maybe 10 or 15 years ago. He's since passed away, but he was promoting his father's art. And so they put out some books in English, including Bagua Circle, Swimming Dragon, 8 Trigrams Palm, by Chen Yixiang, translated and with help from James Sumarak, his student in Australia. This is 2011, I think. Looking at the book by Chen Yixiang, the son of Chen Pan Ling, talks about Master Chen's teachers a little bit. So these are masters we've seen in previous podcasts here and there, including he lists Chen Tinghua. Chen Pan Ling's Bagua teacher is listed in this book as Cheng Yulong, the son of one of the greatest Bagua masters, Cheng Tinghua. Now, Cheng Yulong comes up a lot. We've seen him in a bunch of different books and lineages. It seems like after the father died, the son did continue the school for quite a long time.
Well, he had that southern
Beijing Bagua School.
Southern Beijing Bagua School.
Right, and we talked a lot about that. Was that the second season? Yeah,
I think so.
That was our second season. We did a profile of all these masters who were hanging out in that area. And the theory is Cheng Yulong was kind of sponsoring the activities there after the death of his father and carried on the Bagua school there before the war broke out. So my point being, Cheng Yulong is somebody a lot of people credit. If they do Cheng Tinghua style, a lot of times will say, oh, it came through his son, Cheng Yulong, who carried on what was already happening.
I think it's sort of they train. It's sort of like you would say you train under school, but that doesn't mean you train with the guy whose name is on
Right.
the school. It just means.
So I do Cheng Ting Hua Bagua, but it doesn't mean you learned it from him. The
Right.
son taught a lot of the people.
I mean, nowadays it's like if you go to a Gracie sponsored jiu-jitsu school, that doesn't mean you're actually
Right.
going to train with anybody.
Place
who's-
Gracie isn't necessarily
Right,
on
but
deck.
their name might be on the school, and that's that sort of thing of what you're really saying is that's of that lineage, and it's if you will like sponsored or legitimate, right?
So it says here that Cheng Yulong was Cheng Tinghua's eldest son and successor of his family Bagua school. He had previously studied an unknown system of Tai Chi before he studied Bagua from his father, and it is believed that he blended many of the movements together to create his form Tai Chi Bagua. He was famous for his arduous training and strict teachings, great habits passed down directly to the martial arts hungry Chen Pan Ling. So it's hard training, arduous, and strict teaching. That's literally the only thing they mentioned.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so that's another offshoot of the Cheng Yulong school. Li Tsunyi was very influential on Chen Pan Ling as he studied Xingyi directly from him. Li Tsunyi studied Xingyi and Bagua, and was at the end of his career was introduced directly to Donghai Chuan by Cheng Tinghua too, just like that last guy. So
Yeah, I think it's funny that he's always talked about as a Xingyi guy, but like fucking, as much of a Bagua guy as anybody else,
Right. Well, I mean, if you learn directly from Dong,
That's what I'm
it's
saying.
official.
Like that. Yeah. Anyway, I just.
So Li Tsunyi we've talked about on this podcast probably
yeah.
from episode 1, because he's just such a huge figure in the Xingyi world of just this badass bodyguard, like street fighter, who also organized and brought together all the internal martial arts groups together. So Chen Pan Ling calls him one of his main teachers.
he's kind of like the godfather of modern Xingyi in a
right.
sense.
I mean, if Chen Pan Ling's the godfather of Taiwanese internal martial arts, then Li Tsunyi is the godfather of Neijiachuan period,
right?
Because he brought it all together. So Li Tsunyi was this huge Xingyi master. Then he became a formal disciple of Donghai Chuan, the founder of Bagua, and was famous throughout China when he successfully led a small group of students against foreign soldiers in Tianjin.
Nice.
So I guess the difference is he survived,
Right.
and his classmate
He didn't
Cheng
get
Tinghua
killed, so right.
didn't survive. So that's interesting. Maybe Cheng Tinghua could have been a bigger promoter. Like it was quite a tragedy for the art. Chen Pan Ling was receiving Chinese kung fu lessons at a time of perhaps the richest period in Chinese martial arts history.
Yeah, that's that golden age,
I mean, in a way, it may not be the richest period. It was the last one, though.
Right.
It was the last golden age.
At least it's the black. Yeah. It's the.
So those are the teachers of Chen Pan Ling.
That's a pretty good pedigree there.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. So they've got some good stories of Donghai Chuan. So, since we're here, why don't we take a look at some of his advice for circle walking?
There we go.
So the first sentence is complete naturalness. I like that.
Yeah,
Start right there. Like,
just start from like.
'cause I have to admit, detailed walking descriptions can be kind of boring and slow and like.
Well, and it's very easy to get like uptight when you start walking.
You could get stuck in the uptightness of shifting exactly right.
Yeah.
Why not just get out there and do some complete naturalness and start cooking?
Well, there's something to be said for like just start walking and then worry about the details rather
Right.
than like get so wrapped up in the details that you just kind of can't.
You got
ever
because
really
yeah,
get-
there's so many instructions. You got to just keep coming back to, I'm just walking, and that's something anybody can do. So it says, considered the essence of Baguazhang, walking the circle is attributed to the ancient Chuanzhen sect of Taoism and believed to be more beneficial practiced outdoors. I agree with that.
Yeah. Well, also there's that connection to the Taoist monasteries and stuff.
And he had to walk around the tree. I think Bagua is very sort of known for being done outdoors. Honestly, like my first teacher, we always did it outdoors every time, but because we were poverty-stricken, but
I was gonna say that's just because Bagua guys are always broke.
they're all broke out in the park. All Chinese martial arts you do in the park, but Bagua has that. It has a natural element to it,
Right,
of absorbing
well, yeah.
from the elements, because
There's
there's this I Ching thing going on.
There's that elemental quality, like feeling the
Yeah.
world around you, kind of.
So it says, okay, so here's some advice from Dong Ai Chuan. Dong Ai Chuan, when teaching his students, was noted as saying, training martial arts ceaselessly is inferior to walking the circle. So that's a famous quote from him. So it doesn't matter how many techniques you do, none of that is as good as just doing the circles.
Well, there's some truth to that. I mean, it depends on what your goal is, I guess, but definitely the essence of Bagua is found in the circle walking, not in the movements. I would say that for sure. I mean,
if you've got an hour to work on techniques, should you do techniques or circle walking? He's saying, just get back on the circle.
yeah, I mean, again, it is sort of the beginning and the end of it, right? So there's some value to just saying fuck all that and just do the circle walking. But
Yeah.
if you just have really good circle walking and a basic single palm change, that's enough to give you the essence of it, as a at least as a Qigong, like a Neigong and a meditation practice. I don't know if it gives you enough to do it fully as a martial art, but it's a good start, like definitely gives you a nice base.
Yep. So he says, although Bagua is an awesome combative art, practitioners can deliver powerful palm strikes, low kicks, and throws while remaining in constant motion. It also shares the original Taoist underlying principles of internal cultivation by developing stillness and balance whilst in motion. Walking the circle is performed with spirit and intent concentrated on a single goal, not unlike the Taoist meditation practices that aim to calm the mind with a single thought.
Yeah, it sounds like this guy was definitely heavy on the Taoist meditation side of Bagua.
Well, I don't know how heavy because he was Christian.
Well, okay, maybe not. But at least the understanding the connection to it seemed to be
Right.
part
And
of it.
this is the one everyone points out. Like when you focus on the center of the circle in motion. That's really
It's hard not to.
stillness in motion is obvious, right? Like,
Yeah,
this is
well, like it's hard to do Bagua and not see a connection between at least the language that they use in the I Ching, because a lot of it is very similar. But
man,
yeah,
the concentration, the fluidity, the not getting stuck in thoughts, like it's all lends itself to that meditative Taoist perspective quite well. So it says, okay, so now we move on to the 3 stages of learning. Set or static stage is the first one, where it's a modular format, posture by posture. Second is the dynamic stage, where all the changes are performed slowly, but flowing in continuous. Then there's the third, the freeform stage, blending the changes at will, without any thought of order or structure, creating limitless possibilities. So we've run across this concept before,
I
right?
was gonna say that's different language for the same thing we've heard about 3 or 4 different people.
Yeah.
Right?
So maybe this was Dong Ai Chuan's way of breaking it down.
Well, I mean, I think it's the most logical way to do anything, right? Is like you start with the staccato.
The first part did they call that mother palms or something?
Yeah, he
like that?
refers to it
where
as
you just go every step, 1,
He says
2,
mother
3.
palms, linked palms, smooth palms.
Smooth palm. Okay. So there's the step by step, then there's the linked, which he calls dynamic here, where you do everything connected, but you just do the exact ones in order exactly.
You don't
the same
improvise.
Every time. You don't improvise, right?
Yeah.
And then the third is the swimming body.
And that's where you improvise.
Yushen Bagua, and he calls it freeform stage
Right.
here. So everything, you're just completely manifesting the art there at that point.
Right. So that final stage is where, I mean, we've said this hundreds of times, feels like, but the song now becomes a bebop improvisational thing, not a classical piece done in the very Baroque style. Like that there's a learning process goes where you have to kind of break it down You know, it's Mary had a little lamb,
Right.
little lamb. You know, you're just kind of getting the most like basic,
Right.
but you don't miss anything, right? So that when you start to smooth it out and to put it together, none of the pieces are missing. They're just smoother, right? And that,
Yeah.
you know, that and what's hard is when it's very common that people try to go to that stage too soon. And what you see then is where, when they try to do things quickly or, you know, with any kind of power, it breaks.
The foundation isn't there.
Yeah.
But really, the opposite too happens, right? Because people get stuck on Mary Had a Little Lamb. Because you went to the class, the
Absolutely,
teacher
right.
described it, so then you just do that forever. You've got to take it to this
they're
other
afraid,
stage,
yeah,
even if
yeah.
it feels clumsy, even if you feel stupid, even if you look idiotic. You still got to try that, and bit by bit, connect with that more freeform.
Well, that's
fluidity.
that's the self-discovery part of
Yeah.
it, right? I think, especially with Bagua, I mean, there's a certain piece of it that, like, whether you like it or not, it's going to force you to, like, go inside your body and feel some stuff.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, that becomes uncomfortable, so they just want to stick to the external part of it and ignore all that shit.
Or you never get the confidence. I'm not ready yet. Like
Well,
we've
yeah.
complained about this a lot of times on here.
The
It's just
curse
like-
of the I'm not ready yet. You know?
Right.
It's just, yeah.
So I wanted to end with a look at. They've got 5 different animals that they draw the characteristics from.
For Bagua?
Yeah, so they're just like overall cons. So like a lot of schools will have 8 animals associated with the 8 forms, but
Oh,
these
I
are just
see.
like concepts,
Okay.
right?
Well, these are like
So he says
bare shoulders, things
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. Observation and study of birds, animals, and their unique fighting characteristics has been something of great interest to the Chinese people. In Bagua practice, we emphasize 5 main ones. So number 1 is dragon. Our bodies mimic the dragon's shape as it gracefully twists and turns with both power and ease. So dragon you see in every Bagua style. That's a
I mean,
absolute number 1 on the list, most important animal to mimic. So the second one's monkey. Our limbs move with dexterity, eyes calmly fixed on the lotus palm, extending our peripheral vision and constant alertness. So I like that, the monkey's the alertness of the monkey,
right,
kind of
the sort
from
of
that, and looking out the side of your eyes when you do the circle walking is a big thing. A couple different teachers have taught me vision stuff, like looking through the palms, but also looking out the sides and seeing the other people you're circling with too is a big part of Bagua. Like keeping everyone on the same. Use your peripheral vision a lot, basically. I think that's useful. That speaks to that bodyguard kind of thing too, right?
Yeah, I mean, and also just what happens when you get excited is that you sort of get tunnel vision, right? So part of the learning to relax is that if you can relax, especially relax your eyes when you do something, when you get stressed, will have less of a tunnel vision, essentially. I don't know what that has to do with monkeys, but you know that.
Maybe.
Oh, well, it's
I don't know
the
that
monkey
well.
mind kind of thing where you're.
They're super observant. They're fucking. They got
Yeah,
eyes on everything.
I think it's the idea of being like vigilant, you know, like
vigilant,
you're
yes.
just hyper vigilant,
looking for something to snatch, looking for some treats.
Nothing's
looking for
gonna get
food.
past you, you know.
Yeah,
kinda.
looking for opportunities to go grab that banana.
There's also a cleverness to it, I think.
They are tricky. I don't have too much experience with monkeys, but they seem super smart.
They scare me.
Dangerous, hungry little
I'm
fuckers.
like, I don't want to get too close to them.
They've got nothing to lose. All right, so the next one is eagle or giant rock. So big bird.
A big bird.
Our body and arms glide through the changes with the swiftness and decisiveness of a big bird swooping to capture prey.
That's that up and down, jumping, or like the dipping into a low stance or popping up real fast.
Yeah, and also maybe a little bit of that swooping movements of the Bagua arms that are sort of got that wing effect where you slap somebody with the backside of your hand real hard. Or just this upward swinging to an arm break or arm lock, just those whipping type of arms.
Yeah.
Those could be, I think, thought of as birdie. Let's see here. Next one is bear. Our backs adopt the roundness, and our legs adopt powerful, lumbering movements of a bear, appearing clumsy, but fast and fearless.
Mm-hmm. There it is. That sort
like
of big,
that.
round, lumbering thing coming at you.
That sort of forward momentum of Bagua, where your body's kind of, it's not just trucking on a railroad tracks like Xingyi. Your movement is a little more side to side as you approach, kind of maybe.
Yeah,
When you
well,
engage, there's a little lateral movement that is characteristic.
It's that sort of. I mean, if you just think of like the way a bear will like swat something, right? And
Pretty casual movement.
There's a casualness to it, but there's also like a wave to it.
That's that lumbering kind of feel.
And when they run, you can really see the way their bodies kind of undulate. And there's a, bears are kind of, when you look at them when they're just chilling, they don't look scary, right? But then you see them when they stand up and they're like, raw. It's like, oh my God, even a little bear will scare the shit out of you.
Right.
I once went to a thing where went to the zoo at night and got to see the grizzlies up close.
Oh, wow.
And so I was a couple feet away from a grizzly bear, and
They got grizzlies at that zoo.
the head on this thing was 3 feet wide. Just the idea of that coming at you is just, oh nope.
They're insanely big, dude.
No, thank you.
They look like they're 20 feet long. They're just freaking huge.
You don't really get a sense of what it is. When you get up close, it's just like, oh,
They're
fuck.
ridiculously big.
Yeah.
And I like appearing clumsy because that speaks to my experience when my best Bagua techniques I've ever used always came out of nowhere and seemed kind of random. Like the foot sweep hit at the right time as a chop, and the person I hit sort of didn't really see either of them coming, so it didn't look dope like a movie would look, but the result was sweet. But it looked totally out of nowhere, like I didn't even try, kind of. So that, to me, I like that sense of clumsiness, because it's not like boxing or maybe Shaolin where I'm just flurry of straight punches that looks like you're trying hard to get them. Like Bagua, a lot of the times you just catch their movement and take advantage of it.
It's hard to predict.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's sort of like the drunken thing where if you're just kind of lumbering around, it's hard to figure out where things are coming from. Rather than, if you're standing still, things are only going to come from a couple of angles.
Yeah. That's that clumsiness that he uses here that I like that idea.
Yeah. I mean,
you
I
don't
think,
look klutzy, but...
I think it goes back to, I don't remember, I think it was Lois talking about it, but the way you walk and that sort of unbalancing, rebalancing that you do in the walking, I think gives you this ability to almost look like you're about to fall over or lose your balance, and then to just be able to wiggle your way out of it. I mean, you watch that little clip of Wang Shujing where he's zipping around the circle. The dude looks like he's about to tip over the whole time, It's like...
Yeah, it's not always the most impressive looking.
At times it seems to look sort of just like somebody just whipping their arms.
Or like
around.
you're getting lucky and they'd happen to walk into a SWAT as you shots through. And
it's not
always the prettiest
picture. It doesn't
picture.
look like a martial art is supposed to look in most people's eyes, right? I mean, that's where I think Xingyi, even though it has a lot of these same principles,
at least it looks like you're doing
the container of it still looks like, you look at it, you go, that's a martial art.
Yeah.
You see somebody doing that in they go, oh, that's a weird martial art, because like, why is he standing there for so long? Right. But you look at somebody doing Bagua, and if they said they were doing, some ecstatic dance or something, you'd be like, oh, okay.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
Martial arts questionable. So here, the final one is this: tiger. Movements and turns in Bagua are like a powerful crouching tiger, ready to pounce at any time and any direction with total control.
It's like when a cat sits there for an hour staring at a bush, and then finally just goes, wow.
That's a Tai Chi metaphor they use a lot, And I think this crouching effect is that thing in Bagua where you never, like, very often you don't do a hi-ya, and, like, there's not that
don't show your
explosive movement. You just keep twisting and winding the whole time until something makes contact, and then stuff starts to happen. So that's that crouching effect, kind of. Even though you're walking the whole time,
well, and
your awareness is kind of crouching, ready to move.
Right.
When the time's right.
There's also just the physical sort of crouching that you do a lot in it, where it keeps you sort of rooted in the walking. So, but yeah, there's all these metaphorical things.
All right, well, let's call it for now.
All right, man.
See you in a minute.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Naturalness podcast. Go over to the Patreon. You can hear a bonus episode where this week we'll be continuing our discussion of the history of the White Cloud Temple in Beijing. It's $5 a month for the basic membership, $10 a month for the premium. So check it out. Thanks for listening. Take care of yourselves and be well.